With Halloween just a few days behind us, it's time to unveil the secret weapon. The game that works for Halloween, Christmas, and anything in between. Yes, it's Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogies Revenge. Developed by Capcom and released on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox in 2005, this action-adventure game is set in the familiar film universe many of us know and love. Set to begin in Halloween Town, the game lets players control Jack Skellington as he uses the Soul Robber Whip to smash his way through wave after wave of enemies. Button-mashing beat-em-up gameplay is fun and overall fairly kid-friendly. Enemies don't have the most brilliant AI, but they can surround you and overwhelm you. Think of games like God of War or the also Capcom-developed series Devil May Cry. Enemies are a dime a dozen and will respawn for a short period, but eventually you can always knock out whatever's coming for you. Various moves can be completed with your whip power. Later in the game, you can also unlock Pumpkin King Jack and Santa Jack, who also have special abilities to assist you on your way, but for the most part, using the standard Skeleton Jack will suffice. There are some segments in the game that are musically themed. I could identify them as rhythm game sections, but it took me a few tries before I realized just what I was supposed to be doing, how I was supposed to hit the buttons as they entered the center of the screen. And that took me a few tries aspect of the gameplay will be a recurring theme in this game that I'll come back to later. What you're seeing here is the PS2 version of the game on standard composite cables. The graphics seen in Oogies Revenge are a faithful recreation of the claymation world of Nightmare Before Christmas. While they don't go directly for the clay aesthetic in the way that something like the Neverhood or Clay Fighter might, the game still looks and feels very Tim Burton-esque and does not take much creative liberty with the character designs. They did an excellent job modeling in 3D what many artists modeled out of clay more than a decade earlier. The power of the PS2 makes everything move smoothly, the gameplay is quick, and the limited number of characters on screen at one time keeps the pacing quite frantic most of the time. Even during some of the parts where you're doing more puzzle solving than combat, Jack still moves at a swift pace, and you can accidentally drop off a platform when you don't mean to. The music and sound effects are difficult to address. On the one hand, the voices seem like they're extremely faithful to the source materials. Ken Page reprises his role as Oogie Boogie, and while not all of the other familiar voice actors return, the substitutes don't trample all over existing characters and ruin them. I'm sure the voice actors came in and treated these parts with the reverence a Nightmare Before Christmas title deserves. The music is obviously heavily inspired by the original movie soundtrack, but things get a little dicey here. Sure, there are some unique lines added almost as exposition for the game, or maybe some of them were even unused lines and alternate versions of the original musical soundtrack of the movie. But there's a huge downside. Nearly every single time you engage in combat in the open world levels of the game as you work your way towards boss battles, you're constantly barraged with "This is Halloween." It was cool to hear the first time I was attacked in the game, but when you soon realize it's going to be a constant presence as you work your way through over 20 chapters of this game, heaven help us all. The sound effects repeat far too quickly and become incessant. Additionally, even the songs that are unique takes created specifically for the game, often they only have one or two verses in a boss battle that can last much, much longer than that, forcing them to repeat awkwardly as you fight your way through. I never thought I'd say this, but the music from Nightmare Before Christmas can definitely wear on me.
Make you king. You better give up, surrender now,
But what's most interesting about this game is the fact that it isn't just a straightforward retelling of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, there is a lot of stuff that repeats itself between the two titles, but this is Oogies Revenge, and there are some story beats specific to this game. Sadly, the instruction booklet doesn't clue players into the story at all, and there isn't much in the way of an introductory cutscene that explains everything. A lot of stuff is divulged in the game's engine, but in the end it boils down to Jack leaving Halloween Town in search of new adventures. Even though he's supposedly learned his lesson after taking over Christmas from Sandy Claus, he's still interested in seeing more. During his absence, Lock, Shock, and Barrel bring Oogie back to Halloween Town. The game opens with a battle against Oogie's shadow. Then you rescue Sally, restore Professor Finkelstein's brain, rescue Sandy, and after a bit of exposition where you learn Oogie wants to take over all of the holidays, you battle Oogie himself.
Turn the holiday leaders to their worlds.
I can assure you, the leader of every holiday is right where he should be. And you're looking at him.
Where are you holding Sandy?
Jack, weren't you listening? I said I had a debt to repay old Sandy Claus. A debt I'm going to pay back in person.
I don't want to show too much of the later levels in the game though, because the worlds are truly beautiful. While doing battle with countless nameless skeletons didn't make much sense, you realize soon that the traps and toys you battle against throughout the game are many of the things seen throughout the original movie, and the care and detail that went into them make me appreciate them even more. What frustrates me, however, is the fact that oftentimes I don't know what to do or where to go. There are pointers which you think might help, but they often point to multiple places at once, or random items. They don't explain how to use them. Now, I'm playing with the game on normal, and there is an easy and a nightmare mode. Maybe I should have given myself a better chance and stuck with the easy mode first. Maybe I could use a little more hand-holding. But I just found the game a little too open-ended, and it wasn't always clear what cues I was supposed to be picking up on right away. And although the combat wasn't that difficult, sometimes it could just feel like it was enough to slowly overwhelm you. All in all, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogies Revenge, is a fun way to revisit the holiday lands from my childhood. It's pleasing to say hi to familiar characters and take my old buddy Jack on a new adventure that in many ways is familiar and just like the old one. There's enough new things to make me want to encourage fans of the franchise to at least put the game on easy and give it a try. But if you're just a gamer wondering if you should pick this title up with no nostalgic relationship to the Nightmare Before Christmas franchise, I'll admit you'd be better off taking your holiday vacation this year to watch the movie. Otherwise, this Christmas, you'll find yourself having nightmares about our story so far. Hey Nightmare fans, thanks for watching episode number 88 of OurStorySoFar.tv. You know, I've seen this title in one of the used game shops near my house for a long time, a couple years now, and I kept thinking I would buy it, pick it up, and I just needed a reason to play it. Well, what better reason than this? Please like the video as I'm trying to grow the channel, share it with a friend, subscribe while you're here, because that really shows me that you care and you want to come back for more episodes in the future. If you liked what you saw, there are plenty of episodes here on the channel, and you can go to OurStorySoFar.tv to watch nearly 100 episodes. I put new episodes up every single Friday. Until next time, take care of yourself.